Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will show you how to build a AI agent using Strands SDK, AWS Strands SDK with live telemetry and observability using Langfuse. We will build a financial advisor to understand how the agent loop works and also learn how we can build the system prompt and also understand how we should not build the system prompt. And the financial advisor that we're going to create, it is going to use GPT-oss model running in my local machine. We will access that using Olama, and we will use Strands SDK, and we will give the tools such as HTTP request and current time to the agent, and we will also integrate the observability using Langfuse. And I have initialized the project and got the scaffolding, and also to save time, I have imported or added the required dependency to the projects. So I'll quickly show you the dependency that I've added to the project. So you can see I've added UV add Strands agents, Strands agents tools, Strands agents Olama, Strands agents OTel, because we're going to use OpenTelemetry using Langfuse. So we are adding the dependency for that. And we also wanted to consume the API keys using environment files. So that dependency is also added. And finally, we also added Langfuse, which is required for this. And once I added this dependencies to the project, I also added the required import statements, so which we are going to use in the project. So now that we have got the required dependencies added, required scaffolding done, let's get started. So as I said, we are going to build this agent, and also we are going to use Langfuse to see the traces, agent loops, everything. So I will also show how we are going to set up that integration as well. So if I'll take you to the documentation, Langfuse documentation, where it says how we can have the Strands agents integrated. And it says we have to have this required dependencies, which we already have done it. And it says we have to set up the Langfuse auth basic auth header that we need to have that built using Langfuse public key and secret key. And we should also have the environment variable set, OTel exporter or OLTP endpoint and headers. And this will quickly do it. I have already have the .env file. Let me just copy this. So we will have the initial setting done for Langfuse. Okay, so let's get started. So I'll first load .env. We need this, and after this, let's get the required things done for Langfuse authentication. Okay, so we Langfuse auth header that we are having this value that you're going to pass, and we will also have the environment variable set for the Langfuse. So these two are required. The initial OpenTelemetry endpoint and headers for the Langfuse, we have done the settings. And as I said, in the .env file, I have the required API keys, public key and secret key for it, and that we will pass it to this one. So now that we have done the initial setting, and I think we also, as I said, we are going to use Gold API. We are going to hit the Gold API, and let's set the API key for that as well. Gold API key, and this we would also have that in the environment variable. But before we go further, let's set the system prompt. So I have the system prompt already ready. Let me get that system prompt. And in this system prompt, we are going to give the agent, or we are going to tell the agent that it's a gold rate financial advisor, and we are telling it would use HTTP request tool to get the live gold prices. And we're also telling when it calls HTTP request, when it calls this endpoint, we are also telling use this specific structure. And as I initially said, we should not. I'll give a. I mean, we are making a mistake here in terms of passing the gold API key in the prompt itself, which is a strict no in production environment, because when this prompt is given to the LLM, when we do tracing and when the event loops happens, so these are all gets printed everywhere, and we are leaking the secret key outside. So we should try to programmatically handle such secret keys or API keys. So, but for demonstrations, I've kept it here. So you can see in the prompt, we mentioned what the agent is going to do, and we also said it has to call the API and a specific format, and we're also passing the API key as well. And after we set this system prompt, now let's set the model. So we'll say model Olama model, and the model ID is the one which is running in my machine. I'll quickly pass that. GPT-OSS latest. So that's the one which is running in my machine. Now let's pass the host, because it is running in my local machine, so I'll pass that. So we have now instructed we are initializing the model to use the model which is running in my local machine. So after this, let's now set up the telemetry. So we'll say Strands _ telemetry, and we will use Strands telemetry set up OLTP exporter. So this would essentially, I think I'll take you to the documentation again. So if I take you to the documentation, you can see. So after we set the required configurations, you can see we did the system prompt. We also initialize the model that has to be used, and we have to configure telemetry. That is a step that we have done now. So Strands telemetry, and we have done the setup of OLTP exporter. So let's go back, and after that we will be configure the agent. We'll go to the agent configuration setup. Okay, so we did configure the telemetry. Now let's go for the agent one. So agent will pass the model for it. So the model that we initialized, and you can see the tools, HTTP request, and the current time tool that we want to pass, and the system prompt the prompt that we built. And let's add, after this, let's add trace attributes. Okay, so we have now initialized the agent with the required model, tools, system prompt, and trace attributes. Now let's build the user message. So I'll build a message saying that what is the gold rate today? What is the gold rate today? Can you show me the price? show me the price in USD, and we'll pass this to the agent now. Agent message. So once we the expectation is once the agent calls this, it understands that it has to use the HTTP request tool, and it will make a call to the API with the required inputs, and it will, the response that it gets, it passes it and throws as the goal rate. But we also wanted to check whether some additional question that we can ask. Message. So we'll say, can I buy gold at this rate? Let's see what it responds to us. We'll send this to agent. Response. Okay. So quick recap. So what we have done, so we did the setup for the Langfuse, and we created a system prompt, and we initialized the model, and we initialized the agent with the required inputs, and we also constructed the user message. Let's run this to see. .py. Hopefully the agent now able to use the HTTP request with the correct credentials, and it will be able to fetch the required details for us. Yes, so now we could see it says the value is 3586 is the current gold rate. Let's check that also in the website. So let me go to the website. So this is the website that I'm using. So I could see 3586 is the price today, and it is agent has correctly populated that details. And it is also telling whether I can buy it or not. So it is not a fully functional financial advice, but my aim was to demonstrate how we could use Strands agents to build something like this. But let's check the traces as well, how the agent did tool calls and how it resend it and how it took the required actions. Let me go to, okay. So we can see a couple of times we run today, and it's all accumulated. Let's open the last one. So agent, when the agent was invoked, the event loop cycle started, and it created the necessary interactions. You can see the start, invoke agent, Strands agents, execute event loop cycle, and the chat it has built. You can see the initial input that we given. It is as role as user, and the input that we passed it. And the assistant, or with the role assistant, it created the required content for us. But as I said, the system prompt that we used since it has the headers, the access token, so we could see that in the traces as well. So this is a stick no in the input, and the assistant has built this, and based on the response. And you can also see the role assistant. It says tool use it as try to call the HTTP request tool, and the whatever response that we received from the tool, it is again fed as an input to the LLM, and you can see the tool result is fed as an input to the LLM, and the assistant again received or again formulated that price details. And once this is done, it has gone to the next one, where the next user message that we populated, can I buy gold at this rate? And for all those things, it has it has completed the required event loop or agent loop, and it has given us the required output for us. And a quick recap, we discussed how the agent, how we could set up agent using Strands SDK. And using that, yeah, we also integrated that with Langfuse, and we traced the required agent loops and the interactions, the user assistant, all those interactions, and we have seen how the agent has resent it and responded to it. And we will try to expand this further, and hope you like this video. We'll see with the next one with more advanced and more real-time scenarios. Thank you.